begin with an improvisation on the flute using the head joint that I favor for this kind of playing. So what you're going to hear is just an invention on the spot, and then I will drift into the talk I've prepared for today. Well, good morning. It's the 1st of May. 1 May, as we would say it in the service or in government service, 1 May. And then again, they may not. Good. I just want to see if you're listening. Good for you. Well, the talk I have prepared, I'm giving it the working title of Owning Your Human Machine. And let's not forget that it really is a machine in the sense that our bones and muscles give it support and movement. And that is a very mechanical set of ideas under which we are operating all the time. It's also internally a chemistry set. You have so much going on that your body does without even being prompted. You have hormones being made from the oils and the fats that we consume, and the nuts and seeds turn into the hormones. All of the proteins turn into some over 120 different kinds of protein that are synthesized and analyzed and resynthesized to make this human body. And I never stop being aware of this awe in my own mind and in my own spirit, and the gratitude that we should have about our bodies. And within this talk, as within all of my talks, let us remember that we have the idea of the 5 principles of unity, that God is the source and creator of all, that we are spiritual beings created in God's image. We create our life experiences through our way of thinking, which means we may improve this all the time. Constant improvement is available to all of us. There is power in affirmative prayer. And I was so glad that Isaiah was the author, the book of Isaiah, the source of the thought today, because Isaiah had something really to say about prayer, that by feeling the appropriate emotions when we pray, we can bring about more effectively the thoughts and the feelings that we desire for our future. We're making that all the time. And also the last principle, the knowledge of these principles is not enough. We have to apply them. And that is not a hard thing to do. With the right spirit, with the right mindset, we can apply these principles all the time. That's one of my goals. So we have now the talk. We have a new piece of equipment here. This is your body. You're looking at your body as though it's a new gadget. You just took it out of the box. Are you going to read the instructions? No, of course not. You're not going to read them because you think you know it all. Well, when we were born, we thought we knew it all. We had to scream for everything. When you were too cold, you screamed. When you're too hot, you screamed. Hungry, more screaming. When you soiled yourself, scream again. And you managed to get what you needed by screaming. Well, today, you're big, and now you can have anything you want. But we're still screaming. The way we overcome this anxiety, though, is to calm down a little bit and remember that we can have our logical faculties at work here in order to have what we need. So we're having a time here with this new body. So we're going to feed it, we're going to clothe it, we're going to meet its needs in many different ways, and we're going to use our unity principles in a way that will give us the tools we need to acquire. So there are multiple steps here, multiple steps. So one of the first things we do is to observe our nutritional program. Now, as a yoga teacher and as a student of mysticism, I never tell my people, or I shouldn't even say my people, but I don't tell students who come to visit me what to eat, because that's entirely up to you. Some of us will eat meat, some not. Some of us are experimenting with different kinds of dietary plans. All of that is good because we're all learning all the time. You want to eat what is comfortable for you, and your intuition is going to tell you what is good. And speaking just for myself, I eat everything that comes into the house because I don't want to dictate to my wonderful family. So they bring in what they like, and I bring in what I like, and we all eat everything. And because I don't want World War III in my house, that would be very unpleasant. And there's enough fighting as it is. So I am making my way through life, and I eat what I like. I try to keep my diet very sensible. I have some green things every day. And that's the way I sidestep some of the admonishments that I hear from time to time. So what goes in here, that is everything that I am today. So when you look at yourself, everything that you see went in through this orifice, and that keeps it very simple. This keeps us honest within ourselves. So another factor in having the plan for a better body, a more knowledgeable plan, the next thing is what we are doing with this body, where we go, how we seek entertainment, all of that matters. How we exercise our bodies, that matters. And there are many ways of doing this. We pick things that are, one way is age appropriate exercise. Now in my age group, they say that walking is an excellent plan. Maybe not so much weight training, but within reason. And in younger days, I would be doing gymnastics. I'm still teaching yoga. And as my body is changing, I'm learning how to teach people in my age group. And some of us have arthritis. So I'm learning how to teach people with arthritis, because that's me, old guy with arthritis. But it doesn't have to be a limiting factor. Just because we think we are limited, it does not limit the way we think and the way we feel, because these things are in control. We are in control of those things. And we all know how little we can control in life sometimes. We feel as though we are not in control. We have all of these factors working against what we have as our own plans. Well, we make plans and God laughs. That is sometimes the playful way of looking at this. The God of my heart, though, and just speaking for myself, does not have emotions in the sense that the human being has emotions. My own opinion is that this God would have to be big enough to receive and process all of the universe. And the implication by observation of this known universe is that there are many worlds and many sources of life. So what is the big picture? The big picture, the all-inclusive picture, is that all of us are part of the life. And this life is the gift for us to make the most of it. So the activities we have and the entertainment we speak, this is a big deal. So how do we stay in control, and how do we manage such an onslaught of the social media and of newspapers, magazines? I still favor print media because I'm an analog sort of a guy. The digital world, it's okay with me. It's okay naturally. But I also like handling books. I like to handle paper. and I like to accumulate it, much to the distress of my family sometimes. But this media, all of these media, I should say, media is plural. All of these media are going to mix us up if we allow that to happen. So the unity principles give us a way of using the higher mind through prayer, and along with that comes the cultivation of our intuition. I'm big on that aspect. As with some of you, I treasure my own creative nature, and I use it as often as I can. We know Zach is a writer. Some others of you are writing. I know Leon writes. And those of you who do, putting down your thoughts is a big deal. That is part of your creative nature. So the entertainment we seek and we obtain through the media can be good, and it also can be a hindrance to development. If we take some of these media messages too personally, we're not going to do very well, because there's a lot of dictatorial voice activation in this world that is not appropriate. People telling me how to brush my teeth, what to brush it with, what to put in my hair, what to rub on my skin. And it gets to be such a pressure that these thoughts, even when they're not appropriate, they kind of gang up on us. So how do you sort through it? I'll give you a moment to ask yourselves that question. Go ahead. Okay, very good. I just want to see if you're listening. You're still with me. I love you. Well, the point is that by becoming still, be still and know. Where is that from? The Psalms, yes? Well, the idea, we're pointing. How am I doing? Well, the idea of being still is a huge item for us to consider. And we know that being still implies meditation. How do you meditate? Well, in my opinion, there are two major groups of techniques: breath management, observing the breath, and then the seed thoughts, or the use of a mantra, or the use of a prayer as a vehicle. So those are two big categories, and you pick one. You pick one. Do some reading. The people you see on your screen are meditators with varying levels of involvement, varying amounts of time that we're spending on it. So pick something that you can do regularly, because this becoming still is going to slow down the onslaught of media messages. That will slow it down. And also taking a little bit of a fast sometimes, a media fast, or not exactly a moratorium. That sounds too morbid. It starts with the same letters as morbid, But to take a rest from some of this can be very good. You've experienced the breathing. A number of our speakers in Unity have given us exercises. I'm going to give you one later too. And the exercise involves the stillness and turning off the media sometimes. But kindly don't do it for the next 45 minutes, okay? So we have the idea of stillness, and this stillness is going to give us that slowing down we all need. And one of the ways is to study the breath. I'm a big fan of all of the mystics in history. All of them have something to teach me. So although I revere the Unity teachings and some of the related philosophies that I study about regularly, I also revere looking at what the mystics did and how they got to be as exalted as they are in history. And there's not only Jesus, but there are others who had worthwhile backgrounds to study. So I look at not only the ideas and not only the people, but I look at what they did. And one thing that they all have in common is the idea of meditation. And a few documented lives had fasting involved as well. And fasting can be a good thing. But also I'll interject that you want to ask your physician or your other body workers about what is appropriate for you, because not everyone should fast. I do it maybe once every couple of years, something like that. I drift into just fruit and vegetables, and then for a couple of days, then a couple of days of just juices, and then a couple of days of water only. Then coming out of the fast is very important. I do that in reverse. So then out of water fasting, I go back into juices for a couple of days, and then solid food, fruit and vegetables, and then 3 bags of Oreos. Just kidding, just kidding. Don't do that. That's not good for you. But you ease back into solid food so that you reverse this slowly, because the body does not like fast changes. We don't want to stop on a dime and reverse direction. Your body does not like that. And you know that when you eat meat, it might take about 12 hours or more for that meat, that heavy protein, to go all the way through. And that's a long time. You want to have food that's going to give you maximum nutrition and minimum bulk within reason. You need fiber. Yes, you need that bulk. But within reason, you're going to have a better time by watching with moderation what we eat. So food is sometimes an entertainment item. You know, going back to what we were thinking about, how we use the body. There's entertainment, there's exercise, there's the mobility for taking care of our errands every day, the mundane work of the body. All of that counts for something, and it is fueled with what goes in through the mouth. So we're going to think about what we eat, and we're not going to use guilt too. I strongly suggest that we do away with the guilt as often as possible, because we're looking at what is good for us. Everyone wants to seek happiness, to seek love and shelter and warmth and self-fulfillment. I'm quoting from Maslow's hierarchy of needs here. So this self-fulfillment is a big deal too. And yes, your physical body is involved with that. Your body brought you to the computer this morning. It brought me here too. I am seeking my self-fulfillment by sharing with all of you. I'm as needy as anyone else. And that is why I seek these teachings. I don't want to be on any kind of a pedestal. It's not my way. It won't work. You know, if I'm on a pedestal, then I'm going to fall off and kill myself. And that's not a great idea. So I am right in here in the midst of fellow student mystics. My body brought me here. I wanted to be healthy. So I'm going to give us a meditation soon. And this meditation is going to include a visualization. Now, in the science and the teachings of Raja Yoga or other kinds of yoga, Eastern teachings, we have 3 things that happen in our meditation. 3 things. We can focus the mind, which is concentration, focusing upon one thing. We can contemplate, and this is where we have a group of things, a group of items around which we are thinking. So contemplating the subject of meditation, the whole subject, that would be contemplation. And then we have samadhi, or the connection with the divine. And I know you've heard some of these things before in different ways. I think they always bear repeating, because I know my friend and brother Neil would also say that it's an ongoing process, and that we review the beginning teachings every time we sit. So you might use breath awareness, or you might use a mantra or mantra, and they're all valid techniques with the end in mind, which is the connection with the divine. So if we pray, that is contemplation. If we pray in a repeated way, for example, some of us might have a Catholic background. Maybe you say the Rosary, or maybe the 2 classical prayers of Pater Noster, the Our Father, or Ave Maria, the Hail Mary. Maybe you use those, maybe you use others, maybe you use the Gayatri Mantra, or any of them that connect you with the divine is going to be fine. In my opinion, the God of our hearts knows your heart. And that's a huge item, because that way we can transcend the minor quarreling that goes on among belief systems. That quarreling is unnecessary. Particularly among the children of Abraham. Abraham fostered the lives, he hosted the environments for the beginnings of Islam and Judaism and Christianity. So those three religions came out of Abraham. And Abraham had a refrigerator, and he ate and his children ate. So watch what you eat. Little interjection there. Watch what you eat. So forward in these times, we have the three children of Abraham quarreling. Doesn't make sense. Well, we can manage that as we slow down, we give ourselves a few breaths, and we take a meditation. Now, regular thing is very important in all of our spiritual practices. The regularity is what is going to give us the improvement, because the improvement comes from the idea that these benefits are cumulative. So if you meditate regularly for a couple of years, you may have experienced this already, but after that couple of years of your meditation, you're going to age in a different way, a better way, and you're going to have more completion in your activities, because meditation is going to make all of the body's systems work better. So managing this human machine, that was my original subject. So managing the machine is going to make all of the systems better. One of the main ones to keep in good health would be in the brain. Within the brain, you have the limbic system. And this is the place where you have the structures of the amygdala and the hippocampus. Now, these structures can be physically injured by trauma, all kinds of trauma. Who knows what they have been? Personal trauma in your own lives going way back. Some of us with military experience may have had trauma, accidents around the house. Many different ways act upon us. And when the trauma is serious enough, even repeated scolding as a child can cause trauma in the brain that can injure the amygdala and the hippocampus. But it has been proven empirically, science has proven that meditation can restore physically the amygdala and the hippocampus. Those structures can be restored and healed, and that can bring back our sense of well-being. So where are those structures? They're inside the brain, the master computer, and you want to keep those healthy with your regular meditation, and sometimes seeking someone to talk with, someone who can help you process some of these old experiences. My generation, I'm 75. You deserve to know that about me. I'm giving you all these opinions. So with me, it's just a number. But I got here because I've managed to stay alive. Thank you, God. And also, I'm taking reasonably good care of myself, and which most of you are too, I can tell. But the idea of the cumulative benefits is a serious one. So you're going to seek regularity. Even if you just want to sit still with your beverage in your special cup from the local musicians union, yes, and you can have a morning beverage, and you can sit still and contemplate your blessings every morning. Give yourself a few minutes to do that. So even if you're not going to sit still to meditate, at least you've begun your day with some thankfulness. Thankfulness for this good machine. Thank you for your resources. Thanking the divine for a place to live. All of these factors are not small, they are big factors. And this gratitude and the appreciation you show is going to lead to more sitting with your beverage, more morning contemplations, and that may grow into a full-fledged system of meditation. So you start with what is comfortable for you. It doesn't have to be a long time. In my needs at this time, my meditation has come back to 20 minutes twice a day. For the last 5 years or so, it was 35 minutes. I needed more time because of the trauma drifting through society. So personally, I needed a longer time. But very naturally now, my meditations are shortening a little bit. So for me, it's about 20 minutes average, sometimes up to 30 or 35, but I'm drifting back because my natural need is showing itself to be a little less. So in sharing with what I'm doing, it's a way for you to have some benchmarks for the way you're going to choose to meditate, because we're so different, everyone. We have some participants here from all kinds of backgrounds, all cultural groups, and that's as it should be. I favor a mixture through our society. I like the diversity. I like seeing people of different ethnic appearances on the street. I love that because it shows me a bigger planet than just the small town I happen to be in now. So it's a big world out there, and taking care of this human machine, I believe, can give us better and better experiences. Well, now, I'd like to give us a meditation. And this is going to be beginning with a little bit of music from the flute again. And the music that I provide is just to bring the mind to a focus. And the focus is where we're going to manage the breath. And we're going to let the mantra come up if you need one, if you use one. And again, I've mentioned in the past that if you have a meditation that works for you, I would suggest not changing it, because you want the vertical depth. You want to experience the depth of the meditation. This will happen over time. And for beginners, the general party line is that it might take a couple of weeks for you to start to experience the benefits. And what are they? One of them is when you end your meditation, very gradually, always very gradually, take at least a minute or a minute and a half to fully return from meditation. Well, possibly a half an hour or a little more after that, after you're back in the world, you may feel an upliftment. You may feel as though your senses are more open. You may feel more alert. Maybe even your visual acuity will be better. So you'll feel a heightened sense of yourself for a while. For a while. It may not be a permanent thing. Don't look for miracles. You know, the age of miracles may have passed, although I don't know. Every minute of my life can be a miracle if I'm doing this right. It's just an opinion of mine. So one of the benefits is a heightened sense of awareness after the meditation. Also, you may be able to make decisions a little bit better, maybe making better decisions over time, because you have more insight about what your needs really are. Do I really need A, B, C? Maybe I don't need them. Maybe I want certain things. Maybe I want that new musical instrument because I want to be James Galway or some other world famous musician with a house full of instruments. Do I need those things? No, I need to practice. That's what I need. I don't need more material stuff. I need to apply what I have. So maybe these better decisions are another benefit from your meditation. Maybe better sleep as well. And when you sleep, you need that, and you need to dream. The human machine does need to dream, which brings me to a very little known idea about sleep, which is that when you cycle through all of the components of a healthy cycle of sleep, you will dream, but you will also not remember your dreams, because after the dreaming cycle, you have other things that happen with your mind. And when you come back, you will probably not remember your dreams if you slept enough. So sometimes, now where did I get this? I got this from the book called Power Sleep. It's behind me, behind all these records and everything. I have the library. But the point being that if you sleep enough, you may not remember your dreams. But if you wake up and you have something really vivid, go ahead and write down a few keywords. I keep a little pad and a pencil next to my bed with a bowl of water, a spiritual item that I find is helpful, that bowl of water. So writing down a few keywords may be enough, and then you go back to sleep. And then later on, you'll have some notes to go by. So the sleep factor may improve with your meditation. And so with that, I'm going to segue into a meditation period. So I have my flute again, and I'm going to give you an interval of sound here, just some long notes. And so I've started with going backwards to describe the meditation. Coming out slowly is a big deal. Now, this is going to be about 5 minutes, not a very long time. It's long enough for the brief service we have this morning, but it is short enough so that if you're restless, you can still come back into the meditation for a short time and not feel pressed. And that's a big deal too, because sometimes when we are not used to meditating, we might feel restless. We might feel that it is a pointless effort. Not so. The effort is going to be what we make it. What we make it. So I'm going to have a little sound interval, and then with your management of your breath, you're going to invite your meditation technique to come in. And during that time, you're going to have thoughts. They all come in. Everyone has thoughts that drift into the mind. And what you will do is simply allow the thoughts to cycle. Keep them simple. Don't embroider them up with other thoughts, but rather, okay, I'm thinking about the middle of the day duties I have. Okay, that passes. And then you'll think of other things. You allow the thoughts to drift through, and you very gently bring back your meditation technique. All of this is gentle. All of this is gentle. Okay, let's do this now. This will be a total of about 5 minutes. And so I invite you to sit up straight. And if possible, let your spine be free of the back of the chair. If it's comfortable for you, sit upright because you want your ribs to expand at the bottom. As you're breathing, your diaphragm pulls on the ribs and you expand in your back as well as the front. So you want to allow that expansion. So you can have your feet flat on the floor and your neck well balanced on top. So let's do this. Okay, now we're going to very gently become aware again of our surroundings. So we feel the space around us. We feel the physical body again. You may flex your face muscles, your hands, your feet. And this reaffirms the presence of the body and the mind together. We're coming back and we're appreciating this time we have spent, because this appreciation will give us the inspiration to do this again. So for busy people, about 20 minutes twice a day might be appropriate. That's an average time. So we're coming back. Maybe you want to tilt your neck in a few directions, feeling the muscles and bones rubbing together. Maybe going through the range of motion with your shoulders also. Maybe you'll make some elbow circles or something that will make you aware of the gift of the body. And this gift is not to be underestimated. You know this already. We have what we have for a reason. We are in this body for as much learning as possible. So everyone is back again, yes? This is great. This is great. So to sum up, we look at all of the needs of the body. You have lots of laundry lists to look at, not only the Maslow hierarchy of needs, but you also have many other ways of looking at life, right? You have the 10 Commandments, you have the Eightfold Path of Buddhism, you have the 8 Steps of Raja Yoga, you have so many ways, the laws in Judaism as well, hundreds of those. But you have many ways of looking at life, and through the eyes of the Creator, you will be given access, I believe, to the systems that work for you. Well, this concludes my presentation. May God bless all of us. May we learn and grow together. So at this time, I'm going to turn control of the vertical and the horizontal back to my brother and friend, Neil. So how are we doing?